Hello, my name is Maria Bezubova and you're at my channel Fertilizers Jazz. Here we talk about events, trends, technologies in the world of fertilizers and agriculture. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, and let's jazz! Today is February 3 and it is a weekly markets update. Let's have a look at the news of week 5 and see what are the next trends. Please check out my interview with Freda Gordon, founder and director of Equity Commodities, that was published last week. Freda shared her insights about sulfur and sulfuric acid markets dynamics and prospects for the first half year of 2025. Don't miss the jazz. Let's start with the top news of the week. One long-awaited news came from EU, where a proposal to imply tariffs for the imports of Russian and Belarus origin fertilizers appeared. European Commission proposal covers the whole range of nitrogen fertilizers and the whole range of NP and NPK fertilizers. For nitrogen fertilizers, additional duty on top of the regular 6.5% is proposed at the level starting at 40 euros per ton on July 1st, 2025, and increasing year over year to 315 euros per ton in 2028. For NP and NPK products, the tariff will start at 45 euros per ton and increase gradually to 430 euros in 2028. At the same time, a cap for imports volume is set for each of the 3 years, and if import volumes exceed this level, the maximum tariff of 28 year will be applied. To note, this is a proposal which still needs to go through voting, and 65% of the members should support this initiative. From the discussions in the market, seems like proposal will be approved. What will be the implications? Definitely, the market will see drastic trade flows changes. Russian and Belarusian producers will not decrease their output, obviously, as their cost of production gives them quite a significant room for maneuver. Thus, these products will flood the markets which are not against operating with products from these countries. So we should expect Latin American, Asian and Turkish markets to experience aggressive entrance or rather growth of market share of these products quickly. At the same time, it is clear that this move will increase general price level in EU and even create a gap in terms of supply most likely. European Commission left themselves an opportunity to quickly react with lifting the import duties from producers from other regions that currently don't have preferential trade with the EU. Maybe we will see USA and Trinidad and Tobago producers supplying EU nitrogen duty-free, or Central Asian producers as well. More phosphates from Middle East. Please let me know in the comments, what do you think, which shifts in trade flows are most likely? However, trade cooperation with USA is also under threat for Europeans now, and not only for them. Another tariffs-related bomb, of course, is the decision of President Trump to imply 25% tariffs at imports from Canada and Mexico, and 10% at imports from China. Oil and gas tariffs will be lower, as per current information, at the level of 10%, but this is still to be shaped and confirmed. The total amount of trade that will be hampered is more than $2 trillion. If we speak only about fertilizers industry, of course, most hurt will be Canada. I have put together for you general import figures of USA from Canada for the year 2023 that include both finished products and key raw materials. So, Canada exported 10.8 million tons of various fertilizers to the US, 8 million of potash, almost 1 million of ammonia, and more than 700,000 tons of urea. Also, Canada exported 1.8 million tons of sulfuric acid and 1 million tons of sulfur. Now these tons will be exposed to the tariffs, meaning that in fact most of those will be substituted by other oranges perhaps. Can, for example, Russian volumes take the place of those? We'll see. Russia already became top exporter of urea and UAN to the US market in 2023. So, when you put these two tariff-related news side by side, it looks almost like a global conspiracy, which I don't believe, but still it looks like. Mexico will not suffer that much, but still it is an important supplier of phosphoric and sulfuric acid to the US. Total amount in 2023 reached almost 800,000 tons. Canada already announced mirror countermeasures, Mexico will follow, and China said that they will also take necessary countermeasures after detailed evaluation. We will watch closely the development of this matter. Let's move to the situation in the market. Key news of the week in urea was the acceptance by RCF as a result of its tender that was revealed at the beginning of the week. Total volume booked is only modest 509,000 tons versus 1.5 million tons tendered by India. The price level was at least $15 higher versus market expectations, and even at such high level, the ample supply was not there. So looks like India will need to appear with one more tender and February beginning March, latest, in order to fit in its fiscal year. Market prices responded with increase. Egyptian producers concluded a number of deals and reached $435 FOB. Algerian producers concluded at $440 FOB, all to Europe perhaps. However, European buyers stepped away from the market last week. They are very cautious because the price level seems to be already very high, and they are considering if it is worth risking to conduct purchases for in February and further at current levels. Demand is there, and season will peak soon. The weather is abnormally warm in the southern Europe and will become warm in the northwestern Europe soon. So we will see buyers taking purchasing decisions in a coming week or two, positive or negative. Black Sea spot activity was again almost muted, but current indications climbed as high as $410 FOB. Turkish buyers are desperately looking for product indicating around 440 CFR duty paid, which already doesn't exist in the market. Spot indications from Middle East jumped as a result of the Indian tender and reached $410 to $15 FOB. Market analysts expect 4 or 5 vessels to be supplied to India from the region. So the availability for February and beginning March will be tight, just exactly when large buyers like Australia and the US will enter the market. Iranian producers sold their limited volume at around $365 FOB during the week, but on Saturday increased their offers sharply to $377. Situation with gas supply hasn't improved, so we will not see ample supply from Iran until perhaps mid-March at best. In the US, barge prices increased again by $9, driven by international trend, as well as expectation of very healthy demand due to corn acreage increase this year. All cards will be shuffled with the new tariffs, of course. If Canadian urea is not imported anymore, then prices will surge for sure due to very tight demand in the momentum. Paper values skyrocketed. Egypt FOB increased by $28 for February and reached average $445 FOB. For March, the average is also super high, $423, and $405 for April. NOLA values increased by $18 for both Feb and March, reaching average of $387 and $390 per short ton respectively. For April, expectation is now at the level of $375. Arab Gulf FOB corrected upwards by incredible $30 for February and March to $423 and $412 respectively. April level is $395. Brazil CFR also corrected significantly upwards to $415 for February and $410 for March. April is expected at the level of $398. Ammonium sulfate market was stable last week. Chinese market is off due to Lunar New Year holidays, while Europeans were mostly busy with discussion of potential tariffs for Russian and Belarusian products. Prices in the Northwest Europe remained unchanged, with little actual purchasing activity happening. Some of the European producers are turning their heads towards the US market because prices there increased quite significantly amid tight supply from Q1 and even for the beginning of Q2. The key US producer, Interoceanic Corporation, issued new Q1 and Q2 prices last week, which marked a $35 to $45 increase across all locations. Nitrates prices continue to increase in small steps amid firming trend in urea, as well as uncertainty about the effect of potential tariffs. The demand is strong across the markets. Purchasing activity is ongoing. In certain markets, producers indicate that their Q1 volumes are already sold out, in UK, for example. So the trend is firming, and February will be a peak month of nitrate sales, as usual. Seems like demand will be strong this season. UAN demand is firming both in Europe and the US, and prices as well. In the US, price uptick of $5 to $10 per short ton was seen across all locations. However, still UAN price, if compared to urea, has not caught up, and imports lag behind the seasonal average. So the market will need to increase the target levels in order to attract more tons. In ammonia, market prices were mostly stable. European production cost continues climbing due to further TTF gas price rise. Market disagrees on future direction. Some buyers expect downward correction due to ample supply in Middle East, but others indicate current levels are workable amid high gas prices and limited supply from Algeria. North African supply returned to normal after a hiccup with gas supply in Algeria, but prompt cargoes are very limited both from Algeria and Egypt. Middle East market is long and builds up length further. Market participants anticipate more price deterioration. Inquiries from European buyers started to emerge, but the split between Eastern and Western price is still not sufficient to start physical movement. Iranian supply is still out of the market. Southeast Asia spot CFR market, specifically in India, was quiet, with no spot deals emerging, only contract volumes ongoing. Also, Lunar New Year holiday put activity in Far East on mute. Buyers are indicating lower CFR levels for end Feb beginning March shipments, anticipating further length building in the regional supply. In the USA, new Tampa contract price influenced NOLA domestic barge values that corrected downwards by $10, however, didn't influence inland terminal values. Spring application season is approaching, so domestic sales will be robust. In phosphates, there was not much purchase activity during the week. The key news came from India, where Indian buyers are rumored to be in discussions with OCP. This time, quantities discussed are up to 2 million tons DAP, 1 million tons TSP for shipment through the year 25. There is a feeling in the market that 1 million tons of TSP is too much for India, and Indian side is trying to reduce it. But the seller is interested to conclude a package deal. Discussions are going around long-term formula plans, which are difficult to accept for the Indian side. On the other hand, the country really needs the DAP, but both the TSP and the long-term formula seems to be obstacles. Chinese experts will be back later in the year, giving Indians more options, so it is unlikely they will rush into a deal. April is when customs inspections out of China could resume, giving Indian buyers some time. Meanwhile, Indian RCF issued a purchase tender for 100,000 tons of DAP and 30,000 tons of NPK 1515 that will close on February 6. Northern African producers made some sales last week. OCP reported sales of around 40,000 tons of DAP to Europe for loading in Feb, and almost 50,000 tons to Oceania and East Asia. Egyptian NCIC closed a sales tender for 25,000 tons of DAP at price much higher versus previous tender, $635 to $45 FOB. Also, producers sold SSP in the tender, again above previous values. European demand starts firming a bit, but of course main focus is on nitrogen at the moment. Phosphate prices climbed across all key markets due to both tightening supply for February and March, as well as due to euro weakening. In Brazil, the activity was limited and mostly focused on SSP, while demand for MAP is muted. In the US, market activity was subdued. At NOLA, FOB prompt DAP traded at $587 per short ton, nothing on MAP. Moving to the fundamentals. European natural gas futures climbed towards 53 euros per megawatt hour, closing in on the highest level since October 2023, as colder weather boosted demand and Norwegian gas outages at 3 Norway gas fields simultaneously limited the supply. Moreover, gas storage in Europe stands only at 56% full, down from 72% at the same time last year. And depletion is expected to accelerate in the coming days. Still, while forecasts predict lower wind speeds, the temperatures is set to return to normal, with light to moderate frost at night. But in general, gas price this winter is twice higher versus previous year, so European fertilizers industry suffers. US natural gas futures dropped sharply to the level of $3 per MMBTU, near a 3-week low, due to warmer than expected weather forecasts for early February. Weekend updates predicted milder conditions across much of the US from the 1st of February, reducing anticipated heating demand. Most regions are expected to stay warmer than usual over the next 2 weeks. Meanwhile, LNG exports are increasing, helped by the restart of Freeport LNG's Texas facility. Agricultural commodities future prices moved in different directions last week again. Wheat futures have reached $5.6 per bushel last week. Despite relatively weak demand, concerns over supply remained, including the risk of winter kill damaging some US winter wheat, specifically in southern plains, and ongoing challenges in Russia, where analysts adjusted the 24-25 wheat export forecast by 2% down versus previous month. However, Australia's wheat production for this marketing year is estimated at 32 million tons, 21% above the 10-year average. Corn futures reached its highest level recently of $4.97 per bushel on Wednesday last week, but then played back closer to the week's end, to the level of $4.83. President Trump's announcement of tariffs on Mexico and Canada will have a significant impact on corn market, because Mexico is the largest buyer of US corn, having imported almost 8 million tons this season. And on top of that, ethanol exports from the US to Canada in 2024 accounted for 35% of total US ethanol exports. Soybean futures also decreased at the closing session of the week, reaching $10.42 per bushel. Trade is watching President Trump's tariffs and impact of US soybean and soy meal exports to Mexico. Mexico can resource both from South America, though. Talks of rains next week in Argentina could offer resistance to futures. Previously, Argentina lowered their soybean crop rating due to heat and dryness. Now, during the Lunar New Year holiday in China, typical international buyers step away from the marketplace. So, market will see limited trading activity over next few sessions. Moving to the shipping industry. Containerized freight index dropped more this week. This is related to the Lunar New Year holidays in China. Shipping activity decreased, and respectively, more containers capacity opened. Market analysts expect the rates to drop more in a coming week and maybe 2. Also, the market will digest the news about USA tariffs, as we discussed. 10% was imposed at imports from China. It will inevitably affect container shipment activity, and not only in the short run. The Baltic Exchange Dry Index lost another 3% during past week and continues breaking anti-records. Current level is the lowest since February 2023. Mostly this happened again due to slow international shipping activity related to holidays in China. Vessel supply outweighed demand in all regions and across vessel segments. The market hoped that the bottom has been already achieved, but as we see, it was not the bottom. However, activity picked up a bit closer to the weekend, so hopefully in a week from now we will see upward correction. To sum up, nitrogen market responded to the Indian tender results with significant upward price correction across the benchmarks, but withholding actual purchases. India secured in the tender only slightly above 500,000 tons, but the prices far exceeded market expectations. And now market expects another tender at the end of February or very early March. Demand looks strong, and large buyers will only enter the market later in the year. However, high price levels scared away actual buyers, especially in Europe last week. Nitrates prices supported the urea trend, while sulfate price was stable due to holidays in China. Phosphates prices level is firming slowly, and market attention stick to negotiations between India and OCP for supply deal in 25. Ammonia price was mostly stable, with demand evident in Europe, while supply length building in the Middle East. European gas price continues growing. However, downward correction is expected amid warmer weather arrival. Gas price in the US dropped as warmth already arrived to the most of the territory. Agricultural commodities future prices slightly corrected downwards amid new info regarding supply ease. Both dry bulk and container shipping activity is almost muted due to holidays in China. And of course, the largest news of the week that the market will start digesting and adjusting to is US tariffs for imports from Canada, Mexico, and China. Canada already responded with the same level of tariffs and started evaluation of additional non-tariff measures to be applied. Mexico will follow most likely, while China told they will develop respective countermeasures. We don't know details yet. It will hit both fertilizers and agricultural markets, so trade flows reshuffle is expected now. It will be a turbulent time indeed. At the same time, EU proposed to imply additional duties for imports from Russia and Belarus that will again significantly influence redirection of global trade flows. So, let's see what is next around the corner. But it will be already next week. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, put like to this video, push the bell in order not to miss any updates, and see you soon.